Good morning and welcome to everybody who is here with us and who is live with us on this webinar. It is still a minute before noon, so I'm going to start right on time. And if you are just hopping in late, then always we will send a replay. Very big topic we're going to discuss today. Very big topic. So welcome to everybody. And okay, it's 12 noon. So welcome officially everyone to this very important webinar. 5 ways that we can help to support our children who are going off to school, boarding school, or off to college or university. 5 ways that we can help to support them mentally, physically, and emotionally in this absolute crazy world that we live in. So thank you so much for taking time today to join me. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sharon Fiani. And I'm speaking to you live today, or if you're listening to the recording, I'm speaking to you from Montego Bay, Jamaica. I am a wife. I'm a mother of 3 children. My eldest, Toby, is a girl and is going off right now to her junior year in college. My son is 14, and for the last 2 years has been living in Kingston with my mom. So he comes back home on the weekends. His name is Elias, and he's at school in Kingston. And my youngest, Noah, is soon going to be 12 and is about to start high school. So like you, I am a parent. I am also a master yoga instructor here in Jamaica and across the globe. I have been in this field as a wellness warrior for almost 30 years or more. I don't want to date myself, but for as long as I've known who I am, I've been in this field helping others to really find true health and happiness. Not always easy. I am a recent author of Sneak Peek, the Live Fit Kitchen Cookbook, Sharon Fiani's Live Fit Kitchen Cookbook, which contains 100 what I call simple, delicious, high vitality recipes based on my yoga and detox programs that I conduct here in Jamaica. I'm also the creator of Shakti Activation, which is a 7-day online yoga, detox, and self-care program that you do from the privacy of home. And I definitely want to talk to you more about that later. So that is what I do. I also do live yoga and meditation retreats here in Jamaica. But my entire life, for as long as I've known it, has been dedicated to helping others live fit, live life, live love. And when I say live fit, I don't mean just physically fit. I mean spiritually fit, really rooted, grounded, and anchored inside so that we are able to ride the waves of life as they come. Of course, I am huge on being physically fit and nutritionally fit so that we can live life. If we are not in our state of optimal health, then it is more challenging to really and truly live life, to go out and live our purpose, to fulfill our dreams, to be the best at who we are in whatever profession that we are, to be a great parent. We've got to be in a state of good health to really live our lives. And when we're in a good state of good health and we're doing what we want to do and we're fulfilled in our lives, then we are truly living love. So live it, live life, live love is my mantra. So why this webinar and why now? Well, as I was getting Toby ready to go back to the States, because he starts school very early in Florida, there was this wave of mass shootings and, so much things that are going on. But beyond that, we are the first generation of parents. And to all my parents out there, thank you so much for joining me. And children, and if there are some young adults here watching this program with their parents, I am so excited to have you here with me, because both of us, parents and children, we are the first generation to be growing up with smartphones, okay? Even Toby didn't really have access to a phone until she was maybe 8 or 9, and I didn't let her have a phone until she was 14. Now my 11-year-old got her first phone at, I'm embarrassed to say it. Honestly, I think she got her first phone at 10, and we really don't have a clue what the dangers are, what the implications are, but we do know that there is growing research that there's a whole host of new issues that have come up for our young people because of smartphone usage, and that we as parents don't have all the answers. There's not a ton load of research, but there are some core things that we can do to truly support our children. All right. The statistics are showing that 1 in every 4 children are suffering with a mental health issue or are being treated for a mental health issue. 1 in 4. That means probably the majority, there are many others who have mental health issues, but for whatever reason are not being treated. 91% of students last year in boarding school and colleges had some type of major mental or emotional breakdown. Smartphone usage in young adults has been linked to sleep disturbance, and I'm going to talk about the importance of sleep. When we're not getting enough sleep, we definitely cannot function mentally. Smartphones have been linked to a high rise in anxiety and depression in our children. It's been linked to major distractions, so not doing as well in school because we're so distracted by our phones. You see, our phones are like food. Phones can be the greatest tool that we have in the modern day, or it can be the biggest poison. Same way with food. Food can be the greatest medicine, or it can be the greatest poison. So there's this whole host of new or hugely increased issues that are happening around our children today that are being associated with cell phone usage. And trust me when I tell you, I do not have all the answers, nor am I an expert, and I am so challenged with my own children in helping to guide them along this journey. But I do know that there are some things that we can talk about. So this webinar today is really just a discussion, some little framework for you to be able to talk to your kids, for your kids to be able to talk to your parents, for us to start the discussion with our friends and our peers and our colleagues on how better we can support ourselves. And what I'm going to tell you today or share with you today is what we should be doing too as adults, okay? So I'm not here to tell you how to make your child get good grades or study better or make friends or do their laundry or make up their bed or handle their finances. That's not my forte. I'm here to share with you the 5 strategies of proper nutrition, exercise, sleep, self-care, and support as pillars, as tools for us to really be there for our kids, to start having the conversation with our kids about how we can help them to just have a little bit more awareness, okay? Going off to boarding school or going off to college for me was not fun. Let me just put it that way. It was not a beautiful experience for me. I left Jamaica when I was 14 years old, very suddenly in the middle of the year. I was actually a boarding school student at Immaculate Conception High. For those of you that know Kingston and Jamaica, that is a all-girls Catholic school, which at that time had a convent. And things in the 1970s, here I go dating myself again, were very, very unpredictable and rough at times. And at one point in the middle of the year, when I was 14, my parents just pulled my sister and I out of school in Jamaica and plopped us in a boarding school in the States. And it was the first time that I'd actually been in a classroom with boys with a complete different attitude of how to deal with studying. And the first time I ever encountered fast food and vending machines, and I was a very shy, self-conscious girl. And on top of it, in the first term, I think I gained about 20 pounds. So that kind of just sent everything spiraling, maybe even more than that. My hormones went out of whack. Just all kinds of things happened. I was not a balanced, steady kind of girl. It was not a happy experience. And that was before smartphones. That was before fast food restaurants. That was before Uber Eats. That was before mass shootings and killings. That was way before we could just call our parents and check in every day. In fact, my parents lived in the country in the middle of Jamaica. To speak to them, I had to go through a radio service to speak to them. So it wasn't easy. And I can't imagine that it's easy right now for any child to be leaving home. And so I hope that this little conversation will help you just to start getting the wheels turning in your head about certain things that should become part of our daily lives, should be made priority in our daily lives. You see, when you go off to boarding school, there's no mom or dad there to support you. It's you on your own. It's you that has to establish the rules, the self-control. It's you that makes the choices. So hopefully today I can offer you a little better choices than maybe perhaps I made, or if you're going off to school for the second year, maybe better choices than you made last year. So let's talk about nutrition. Let's talk about nutrition and hydration. So I know that every single one of you watching this, parents and students alike, you know the correlation between eating healthy and how your mind works and how your body feels and how you look and how you stay, free from always being sick. Everybody knows now that proper nutrition is so important. But making the right food choices when we are away from home is definitely not easy. So what are the things that we look for as students? We look for convenience. We look for price. We look for something that's going to be instant gratification. So we find that most students, especially when they first grow up, everybody knows about the first, what's it called? The first year, 15, that first year where you can eat anything you want. You go to this huge dining room with a buffet of choices and, you just eat and eat and eat and you gain freshman 15. Yeah, I gained that too. But there, definitely the world has changed. Definitely most schools, most boarding schools, most colleges are aware and do supply healthy choices. So just a couple of things, and then I want to talk to you about my nutritional philosophy called the 80-10-10 rule, 80% of the time. So just a couple of things that you already know, but just to keep in your mind as you're going back to school. Choosing water over soda, that's just a no-brainer. And please, guys, make sure you buy yourself a steel or a metal container for water. I love a Swell bottle. Instead of drinking water out of plastic bottles, which is such a no-no. We know this. I know it's convenient, but those plastic bottles contain so much chemicals. So that's what we're trying to do for now, is to prevent you having more toxins thrown at you. We're already breathing in toxins. We're already getting radiation from our smartphones and our computers. We're already, eating additives and pesticides and fertilizers in our foods. Please don't add to it by drinking bottled water. It's as simple as filling up your water bottle daily. So some of the things: water instead of soda. Um, Uber Eats. If you Google Uber Eats, I know a lot of my college kids are big Uber Eats people. If you go to Uber Eats, you can look up healthy options in your area. So if you're going to grab a Uber Eats meal, look for a healthy alternative. Most of you don't have a kitchen, so prepping your meals is really hard. I remember in boarding school going home with friends for the weekend and actually baking granola bars and making some healthy food to bring back with me to boarding school. So keeping all kids are now allowed a fridge in their room. Keeping veggies in your fridge, keeping a good salad dressing, keeping fruit in your fridge, nuts and seeds, healthy things to snack on. Spending, keeping a budget where every week you stock up on almonds and walnuts and apples and different healthy things that you can easily and quickly access. Super important too is to get a nice salad dressing that you like, so that instead of munching on chips, maybe you can munch on carrot sticks with a dip with a good dressing. There are some amazing dressings in this Live Fit Kitchen cookbook. So prepping your meals, thinking ahead, trying not to run to the vending machine each time that you're hungry because you have your little mini fridge full. A great little tool is a NutriBullet. If you're in college and have access to a small kitchen, having a NutriBullet and just keeping some veggies and maybe a plant-based protein powder. I love this one. This is so easy. It's chocolate, and I add a scoop of, some almond milk, a banana, a scoop of almond butter here, some vanilla, and it's just an absolute. This is a full meal for breakfast in the morning. A couple of veggies in there, and you are good to go. So just thinking about how you can replace some of the easy, convenient habits with more healthy and more healthy ones that are good for you. And if you like when my Toby, who is now in college, was in boarding school, I actually went to the principal of the school several times to complain about the lack of healthy options for the students at her boarding school, and they actually did something about it and they changed their program. So if you are finding that your school is not offering enough healthy options for you, complain, advocate for yourself. So I will wrap this up by talking a little bit about my 80-10-10 rule 80% of the time. And what that means is looking at your plate when you sit down to eat and making sure 80% of your plate is plant-based, so with some veggies. 80% of your plate comes from plants. Then 10% comes from protein. So whether you have meat or you're a vegetarian or vegan and it's beans or, legumes or tofu, that you have plants as your main focus of your meal. Your protein is less of a focus. It's like 10%. You are getting your complex carbohydrates. Please, guys, God made the 4 food chains, 4 food groups, so that we eat all of them because they're important. So 10% of your plate is a healthy dose of high quality carbohydrates. And I'm talking about things like quinoa and brown rice and anything that's not refined, like white rice, and try to stay away from white pasta, more whole wheat pasta if you can. And then a little always on your plate, you want to have a dose of healthy fats, a bit of avocado or a goat cheese or some olive oil or some nuts and seeds. This will keep you healthy. And I'm talking eating this way 80% of your day. Now that might be a bit of a push if you're in college. Let's just say if you ate that way 60% of your day, and 20% of your day you had, one sweet treat, or you went out for a beer with your friends or whatever. But the general rule is that you're eating mostly plants. It's just better for your body. It's actually also better for the earth It's better for the environment to lean in towards more of a plant-based diet. There is loads of information when you sign up for my newsletter, my blog, which you can do on my website. You can read about my 8-10-10 rule. There are tons of free trainings on the website to learn more about my nutrition philosophy. It's also in the cookbook. So if you have any questions during this webinar, please just type them in the Ask a Question link right below. So that's really talking about nutrition, and I also want to touch on hydration, drinking water. This is something that lots of our students forget about. They're on the go, they're drinking beer and soda, not water, but we should be drinking, as a rule of thumb, half our body weight in ounces of water a day. So do the math. If you weigh 130 pounds, I'm really bad at math. If you weigh 140 pounds, you should be doing 70 ounces of water a day. So if this is a 30-ounce bottle, I should be drinking at least 2 of these bottles of water, and then about at least another half more every day. So stay hydrated, watch what you eat, lean into more of a plant-based diet. I know that's not your pizza and your Subways and your McDonald's, but there are now so many healthier choices out there. Be aware and conscious of what you are putting into your physical body. So I'm going to move on from nutrition to talk a little bit about exercise. Once again, there has been studies shown that smartphones are linked to obesity. They are linked to lack of movement. They are linked to social anxiety, right? We are spending so much time on our phones that we're not moving our bodies. We are eating mindlessly. So we're just putting stuff in our mouth without really thinking about what we're putting in. There's no mindfulness. We are watching what everybody else is doing instead of going and interacting. So instead of creating what we're looking at Instagram on in our own lives, we are watching what everybody else is doing. And there's so much social pressure on that. And smartphones are also causing a tremendous amount of anxiety. So for me, the greatest gift that you can give yourself is the gift of exercise. Now, the average young adult should be exercising for the very minimum 150 minutes a week. That's only 20 minutes a day. Personally, I think it should be more than that, because it's not just about the weight loss. It's not just about burning calories. It's not just about physically looking good. It is what I call the happy hormones, the endorphins that are released when you're exercising that make you feel good about yourself. It's the fact of detoxing your body through sweat, by burning, by building heat and sweating out the toxins in our body. It's about creating strong muscles and bones that don't support you for your young adulthood, but way into life as you get older. It's about increasing your energy levels. If you're feeling exhausted and tired, the last thing you should be doing is lying down on the couch and watching TV. Just a little bit of movement brings you more energy. It helps to reduce chronic disease. It helps your skin to look better. It can help your brain and your memory. So if you've pulled an all-nighter, wake up in the morning after you've recovered with your sleep and get some exercise. Get your body moving. I like to call my exercise my hour of power. What does my hour of power consist of? So it consists of about 40 minutes of exercise, but there is the 20 minutes in there where I stretch my body, where I hydrate, where I tune out from everybody else. So I just exercise, I go into my zone, I clear my mind, I give it everything I have. So I sweat, And I use that for, honestly, yes, it has tremendous physical benefits, and I feel stronger than ever at age 54. But most of all, exercise for me is for my mental health. It just brings me happiness, it brings me clarity, it brings me focus. And so I encourage you at school to find a little time. Maybe it's not your hour of power, maybe it's your half an hour of power, to get out there, to go for a run, to go for a walk, to go to your local gym or your school gym, and to use this beautiful body that God gave you, that was not meant to be sitting and dropping your head down and staring at a little screen your whole life. No, your body was built to move and to exercise. Create a little hour of power for yourself, or half an hour. Grab a buddy. Exercising with a friend is so much more helpful. Motivate each other. But make exercise and nutrition a priority for you. Okay, nobody else is going to do this for you. All right, make it cool. Surround yourself with friends who like to exercise, who like to be active, and not who want to lie around in a dorm room just looking at other people's lives all day long. Please find those friends when you go away. So we touched on exercise, we touched on nutrition, and I want to talk a little bit now about the importance of sleep. The research says that young adults should be getting 9.25 hours of sleep a night. Now, I know our young people sleep way into the day, but when they're on holiday and they're at home, but when you go away to school, you got to get up and get to class. So you have to look back ways. You have to say, okay, tomorrow morning I have class at 9. I need X amount of time to wake up and get ready. Maybe I'm going to do my hour of power, my half an hour of exercise before I shower and go to school. Therefore, I've got to wake up at 7, Therefore, if I wake up at 7, I need to be going to bed no later than 11. So do your own math, right? At least a minimum of 7 hours of sleep, preferably 8, and most preferably 9.25 hours of sleep. So you are the one that has to set your schedule. I always say to my clients, if it's not scheduled, it's not real. Take a moment the night before to look at the day that you have tomorrow and plan out when you're going to bed so that you can get your proper sleep, when you're going to exercise so that you include your hour of power. Where are your food? Where's your meals coming from? How can you get at least one really healthy meal in for the day? So it all comes back to you and about taking responsibility for yourself. There is 100% correlation that the blue light on your phone is causing a disruption in melatonin, which is that key hormone that helps you to have proper sleep rhythms. So many of us young adults are not getting enough sleep, and that just is like a domino effect on our mental health, on our physical health. So getting enough sleep is one of the game changers of your life. And again, one of those things that I really want you to think about. When you sleep, you just feel so much better. So I know going away to school is all a big part of it. It's partying and having fun and going out, but there has to be balance. I'm not saying that you have to live this way 7 days a week and, be a nun at school. Well, I certainly was not. But we are up against so many more odds than our parents were when they were going to school. It is a completely different world. And so there are these key things that we really need to take our own responsibility for. Yeah? So we talked about nutrition, exercise, hydration, sleep. And by the way, quick note to exercise. For every hour that you exercise, you should be drinking at least another 8 ounces of water a day. So really think about your hydration. So talking now about self-care. What does self-care really mean? Self-care doesn't mean that you are selfish. Self-care doesn't mean that you have to go to an expensive spa and have a full day spa day with your girlfriends. No. Self-care means taking care of yourself, your mental, physical, and emotional self. So one of the biggest self-care techniques that I can share with you that has completely changed my life is meditation. And I know when I was a young adult, that was probably the last thing. I would probably laugh my head off if my mom was talking to me about meditation when I was on my way to boarding school or to college. But I can tell you that in this world that we're living in, being able to calm our minds, even if it's only for 5 minutes of the 24 hours of the day, is probably one of the greatest gifts that you can possibly give yourself. We are being bombarded every second, every millisecond by information, nonstop. On top of that, we have work and study and extracurricular activities. If there is one thing you can do for yourself that will change your life, is to spend the first moment as you wake up in the morning breathing, relaxing, and letting go. I have used apps to help me with my meditation, all in the last 5 years of my meditation practice. There are some incredible ones out there. Calm is a great one. CALM, Headspace is a great one. There's a newer one called Stop, Breathe, and Think, which really helps you to just be more mindful when you're getting into that anxiety, to stop, tune into your breath, and to think before you react. So there are many fantastic meditation apps out there. But if you can do what I do, which is keep my earbuds or my headphones right by my bed, so that the moment that I wake up, before I check my email, before I check my WhatsApp, before I check Instagram, these go in my ears. I sit up and I do my meditation. You can start with 1 minute of breathing. You can start with 2 minutes. Try to go for 5 minutes. And then slowly it becomes a practice. That's why we call yoga and meditation a practice, because you can never be a perfect yogi or a perfect meditator. Never. It is something that you do consistently daily. And the more consistent you are, the more benefits that you reap. So a beautiful, simple, cost-free self-care technique is meditation. Exercise is self-care. Eating healthy is self-care. Saying no, right, to people and situations and events that really don't feed your soul. So saying no to peer pressure when you're away at school. You know, there's such a temptation to fit in with what everybody else is doing. But to have the confidence to say no is a huge gift to yourself. Saying that I'm taking care of myself first. A beautiful way to practice self-care, and something that I try to do daily, is to spend some time in nature, to literally take your shoes off and walk on the grass, to go into a forest, take a hike, jump into the sea, just get, some vitamin C, vitamin D from the sun, be out in the sunshine. So many of us are spending time on the fluorescent lights, So I know a lot of you go to college and where it's freezing cold. Put on your jackets, get out into the woods, go for a walk, grab a buddy. Find a friend who has like-minded values as you. Find a buddy. Plan things on the weekend. Instead of planning parties, maybe one day of the week you could plan to explore something in your neighborhood, a park, a walk, stroll through a certain district. Plan things that require you to be outside and to be in Mother Nature. And another really beautiful self-care tool is just letting go. Letting go of things that may have happened, instead of, gossiping or talking or really, diving deep into some difficult situation. Just daily in your meditation, in your quiet time, just say, I've let today go. I've let today go. Tomorrow is a new day. So those are some of my self-care go-to practices that I hope will serve you and help you. Just think about taking care of you first, yeah? Making yourself a priority first so that everything else around you can fall into place. So the last thing that I want to talk about is support. I love this quote, and it says, you are the sum total of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So when you're at home, you're probably spending the most time with your family. When you go away from home, you meet friends, you have, other people around you. Please, whatever you do, you're smart enough to know the people that bring your energy up and the people that pull your energy down. So I invite you to really, be open, be interested in life, in people, be willing to meet as many new people from as many cultures as you can. Be willing to learn from people, but be very aware and protect your energy. And if there are people around that you find that you're drained after being around them for some time, they're not your people. And they're definitely not the people you should be spending your most time with. Of course, you're going to meet people like that all the time, but you keep them at arm's length. You're nice, you're kind, but you don't get into the drama. You keep arm's length. And surround yourself with people that have the same values as you and the same values as your family. And make sure that you're uplifting them and they are uplifting you. That you're looking out for them and they are looking out for you. This is so important. Find your tribe. Remember, your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you are taking care of yourself, if people see you as this person who has their shit together, they are waking up in the morning, clearing their mind, they are prepared for their day, they're eating healthy most of the time, they know how to have fun, they're getting exercise, they are taking care of themselves, you're going to attract like-minded people. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And if you find that you are getting anxious or you're leaning into depression, anxiety, sadness, loneliness, if you find that you are less interested in school or you're not waking up early in the morning to get to school, you can't seem to have any energy, please speak to your parents first, and please seek out support and help. At every college, at every school, there is assistance, there is help. Every single institution knows that young people today need support more than ever. Do not ever be afraid of talking to a therapist. Sometimes it's even better to speak to somebody who is a third party, who is not your family, who can listen without judgment to what's really happening inside of you. So find the support that you need. And if you find that you're going off the deep end, reach out to somebody. You are not the only one. Even the best of us get affected by the waves of life. One of the great teachings of yoga is that life is just waves rising and falling. So through your time away, there's some weeks where you're going to be like this. You're on the top of your game. You're doing well at school. You're the social butterfly. you're on your, your nutrition and your sleep and exercise, and then one day you just get hit down by somebody's awful comment, or a disappointment of some kind, or an illness, or some bad news, or whatever. If we start to build this foundation of being physically, mentally, and spiritually strong, we'll be less rocked by the waves of life that will come, because this is life and we are simply spiritual beings having a human experience. So, my dear friends, I hope that this has just been a little opening of a conversation. If you're a parent who is watching this by yourself and your child just wasn't interested, maybe you want to write down some of these points. Maybe you want to invite them to watch it, but please don't push your children into something that they don't want to do, because they will just rebel. Take time to ask them when it's a good time that they can talk about going back to school and some of these points that maybe have resonated with you, and be willing to, or agree to disagree on certain points. Just get across the point that this is now the time when they step into the shoes of life that they're going to have to walk in, and that their shoes are their own, and their responsibilities for their own inner and outer health are theirs, and that you are there always to support them. So before I go, I want to talk to you a little bit about my online program, because when this idea for this webinar came into my head, I was just thinking that, in the past, my online programs, I've had many mothers and daughters or sisters doing it together, family members doing it together. And it has been such a beautiful experience for both parties that I have a very special one-time offer for anybody who is signed up for this webinar, to be able to do my online yoga, meditation, detox, and self-care program with their child or their goddaughter or godson, or any child that they look after who is going away to school. So what is Shakti Activation? Shakti Activation is my 7-day online yoga, meditation, detox, and self-care program that is designed to be done while you go about your day. So whether you're a student at school, you're a stay-at-home mom, you're the top CEO of your company, it is designed so that you do it within the framework of whatever it is you do in your life. It is 7 days where you get daily short yoga practices, where we work through the 7 chakras, or energy centers of the body, to clear the chakras and to bring them in balance. It is 7 days of 10 to 15 minute meditation practices of all different kinds of meditation, so you can find one that really works for you. And it's 7 days of recipes from my Live Fit Kitchen cookbook. Now, I know that many of you at college will not be able to follow this or to cook all the meals yourself. But it is 7 days where, as a collective, as a group, we say no to sugar in all its forms, to alcohol, to wheat, and I talk a lot about this in my program, to dairy, to all processed foods, and to all acidic producing foods. We practice yoga, we practice meditation, and we practice radical self-care. And yes, this is completely doable if you're at school or boarding school. It's just that you're going to have to do it within the framework of what's available to you at school to eat. It's a wonderful offer. Shakti Activation costs only $97, but you are able to purchase Shakti Activation between today and I think it's midnight on Friday. One spot on Shakti Activation, and invite your child, or if you're a student watching this, invite your parent or your sister or your sibling or whoever you would like to do it with you for free. And I'm doing this because there's no better way to bond with your child than to do a program like this that involves both of you talking to each other about your experience, that involves you going through the same thing at the same time, and involves just setting up this framework for health and happiness by just spending 1 week of dedicating it to these ancient practices of yoga and meditation, to these modern day practices of letting go of all the processed foods and the artificial foods, and eating super healthy and practicing self-care and going to sleep earlier at night and getting rest. That will set you up for a lifetime of good habits. So that is my very special offer to you. You can click this link right here below that says Shakti Activation discount, and you can sign up right now. You can talk to your children and see if they want to do it with you. And if your child doesn't want to do it with you, maybe you can do this with your partner and establish this framework for yourself, and then maybe feel more confident to share this with your children. Okay? So this program, if you see, the testimonials for Shakti Activation are endless. It is the most beautiful gift that you can give yourself. 1 week dedicated just to you, to learn these habits while you go about your day so that they become part of your life for life. So I hope I will see you in my next Shakti Activation. Begins Monday, September 23rd to Monday, the 30th of September. I'm going to check in now if you have any questions, if anything has come up because of this webinar, or if you're watching the replay and you have a question, you can always email me at sharon@sharonfiani.com. Click the link here, find out more about Shakti Activation. Yes, here it is. And we're asking you, please do not share this special offer with anybody else, because it is a special offer for any one of you that has taken the time out of your Monday to watch this webinar. So with that, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. I hope you'll join me on Shakti Activation this time or another time. And regardless, please share this webinar with any one of your friends that really need it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste. I hope this has served you.